Hey guys, welcome to Marcus Loves Movies. My name is Marcus Lee and today I'm reviewing Songbird, a film about the pandemic that we're all sick of talking about that begins with C. Yes, it has begun. Hollywood has released one of its first films about COVID, but this is set in the future, so we're not talking about COVID today, we're talking about COVID in 4 years' time. Before I get into the review, can I just say thank you for tuning in. If you like movie reviews, discussions, quizzes and all of that good stuff, can I encourage you to subscribe to the channel right here, because this is where I do all of that good stuff, and also hit the notification bell so you're notified every time I release a brand new video. That would really help me and it probably help you too. So let's get into the review. So the description according to IMDb is this: in 2024, a pandemic ravages the world and its cities, centering on a handful of people as they navigate the obstacles currently hindering society: disease, martial law, quarantine, and vigilantes. It's directed by Adam Mason and stars KJ Apper, Sofia Carson, Demi Moore, and Bradley Whitford. So since we're all living through the nightmare of COVID and lockdowns, what we really need to see is a film about the nightmare of living through COVID and lockdowns. The filmmakers have decided to strike whilst the iron is hot. It's the thing that we're all talking about. It's everywhere. So why not make a film about that, right? Yeah, then you get people like me who are intrigued and want to see the film. So I must admit, I think it is a good idea to strike whilst it's on everyone's lips at the minute. So this film is set in a not too distant future. Everyone's living in some form of lockdown. COVID has mutated, so it's much more serious than it is now. Some people are immune from it, like our main character in the film, Nico. He's a motorcycle courier, so he can go about, travel around. He's got to wear a wristband to show that he's, one of these people who's immune. He just does his thing. He delivers packages all day. Other people have to live in some form of lockdown, so it's in their homes, in their apartments. They can't leave. They can receive mail, but the mail is sanitized before it comes through. And for anyone else who has been infected, they're living in these horrible lockdown camps, which are just horrendous, away from the rest of the world, can't communicate with anyone. So it's just really bad. So Nico's doing his thing. He's got his girlfriend, Sarah, who's living in the lockdown. They can only communicate through the door of the apartment. They can't, they can't connect, they can't touch each other. Sarah lives with her grandma. And then, the story starts to take a turn when grandma appears to be getting ill. Looks like grandma has some form of COVID. She starts coughing. And because we've moved forward with technology now, you have to sort of do a scan on your mobile phone to say, have you got COVID or not? And if you do, then the government are going to come and knock on your door and pull you out and take you off to one of these camps with the hazmat suits and everything. So our story is essentially Nico discovering, is his girlfriend going to get affected, and can he stop her from being taken into one of these horrendous camps? Yeah, sounds interesting. However, despite the story having, it's a good idea, I suppose. The film has a lot of potential, but sadly, I don't think it offers as much as it could have. I think this was a generally good idea. It's good to set it in the future. It's good that COVID has mutated, fictionally, of course, and that it's a lot more serious. But I don't feel like this film fulfilled its potential. So going into the characters for a start. The characters are a bit paper thin. He's a good looking guy, looks good with his shirt off, looks like he can throw a punch. Great. She is very lovely. She's 20 something. She's pretty. She only says cute girlfriend lines. She's pretty perfect. And, them two as a couple, they're just like, ugh, a bit, ugh. She looks like she might be getting ill, and he says things like, hey, I'm not leaving without you. I'm going to rescue you. I'd go to the ends of the earth for our love. And they're a bit too mushy for me, a bit too wet, a bit too soppy. There's a bad guy in it. It's played by Peter Stormare. Not sure how you pronounce his name. And, I've seen him in other things, seen him in Prison Break. He often does these bad guy roles. He's a good actor. And he's the big bad, supposedly. But he's just a guy in a bit of a scruffy suit who you feel like, if you went to the gym, you could punch him and knock him out. And that's supposed to be the main bad guy. And he doesn't really offer much than that. I didn't find that side massively intimidating. If it's COVID, if you feel like it's the government who are controlling you and all that kind of stuff, then there could have been a bit more of a bad guy element or something that was a bit more threatening as an antagonist. There wasn't much there. What I thought was an interesting B story. I'm trying not to say too much about what happens in the film. But there's an interesting story with a character played by Bradley Whitford, and he's married, he lives in a nice house, but then he appears to be cheating on his wife and going after this young woman played by Alexandria Daddario. And, you know, what would have been an interesting thread, because, like I say, the plot sounds interesting, but after a while you're thinking, what would have been an interesting thread? And there were so many potential threads are, what does infidelity look like in the middle of COVID when you can't touch people? You know, you've got to socially distance still. All of that's mentioned in this as well. But what does it look like when you have an affair? And then if you're catching something or bringing diseases back into your house, what does that look like? Because obviously, you know, if you're being unfaithful, you have to touch someone. You know, so what would that look like? What would that have looked like? Yeah, the film had a lot more potential, I thought, and I don't feel like it really went into it. I've seen some people say that it's too soon to put out a film like this about COVID. It's just too soon. We're still dealing with the nightmare of it. What I think is, I don't think it is too soon. I think, you know, there's lots of films about pandemics, you know, Contagion, Outbreak, 28 Days Later. Even there's a British film called Containment, which is set in the UK, set in Southampton. Go see that. So there's lots of films about pandemics already, and it's about how you deal with it. I think if they try to show the horror of death and graphic deaths and people, you know, dying in horrific ways, and, you know, it was gratuitous, I think that would have been bad, but it's something that we're dealing with and it's something that we're talking about. So, you know, people are sadly dying from it. I don't think we're celebrating death. I don't think we're laughing at it. I don't think we're taking it as a joke, but it's something that is happening. And let's be honest, we are going to see a ton of pandemic themed films in years to come. There's going to be a ton of them. There's going to be a ton from Hollywood. There's going to be a ton from Bollywood, Nollywood, and the rest of the world. You know what? I might even make one. My mum's probably going to make one. If I had a dog, the dog will probably make one. So there's going to be a ton of these films that'll come out. This film, it was quite low budget. It feels quite low budget and quite low key, but with the talent attached, I feel like there could have been more to it. You've got Demi Moore. Demi Moore's a legend. Bradley Whitford is quality. Michael Bay's attached to this, so I feel like maybe they could have gone a bit bigger with it. Not maybe to Transformers level, but, you know, I feel like there was more scope to do things with this film. And maybe if they'd spent a bit more time working on the scripts, working on the ideas, working on some of those potential threads, I feel like the story could have had more to it. Interestingly enough then, so this is the first, this was one of the first films to shoot in Los Angeles in 2020 after the global pandemic was first announced. It was shot in July 2020. They had a maximum crew of 40 people per day. So, you know, it's by no means, it's not a tiny shoot. It's bigger than everything I've ever worked on. But I feel like they could have spent a bit more time with it. They were trying to strike whilst the iron was hot. It's like, right, COVID, this is happening. And it was released, you know, at the back end of 2020. We're just seeing it in the UK 2021. And for a film about COVID, it wasn't actually that depressing. You'd be thinking, oh, I'm sick of COVID, I'm sick of it. On some level, it was entertaining. It was all right. It was just decent. But I just feel like there was a lot more potential. I keep saying the word potential, but I feel like the film could have done a lot more. There was a lot more avenues it could have gone down, and it didn't. But for an 85-minute film, I found it reasonably interesting, entertaining, worth a watch, worth your time. So yeah, worth watching. So my official Marcus Loves Movies rating for the film Songbird is 3 stars. So those are my thoughts of the film. We've only just seen it in the UK and it's already been released in the US. So if you've already seen it, I'd love to know if you've seen the film Songbird and did it make you want to sing along, or do you think the film was just wrong? Just wrong. If you haven't seen it, are you intrigued and you think, oh yes, please? Or does it sound like one big dirty disease? Not sure if any of those rhymes work, but they're out there now. Please let me know what you think. Give this video a like whilst you're here. Leave a comment below. And if you haven't already done this, can I encourage you to subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you're notified every time I release a brand new video. If you like movie reviews, discussions, trailer reactions, quizzes, all that good stuff, this is the place where it happens. So thanks for watching this video. I hope to catch up with you again soon. Please comment, let us know what you thought of the film, and please check out some of the other movie reviews on this YouTube channel. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and thanks for watching.